We have some new huge predictions for the spot XRP ETF, including 21 shares, Grayscale, what will happen if BlackRock joins, Wisdom Tree, Franklin Templeton, and more. Chad has already done the work. Everything he put up here will be looked over by us. His ideas about what is possible will become very clear from what he says. Of course, I'm going to tell you what I think is possible here, but these numbers don't make sense. Let's not worry about this. You should know that the price will go up and down. If it goes up, these numbers won't show everything, but it's good to know what they are in case something happens. Let's just do it together and we'll figure it out. We'll figure this out, I promise. 21 shares XRP ETF situation, let's say the price is now. So all of this is based on the price of about 220 right now. That's what you need to know about all of this. So if the price doubles, triples, or quadruples, you'd have to start cutting this in half, thirds, and fourths, and you'd have to do it all over again. Assume a little better on the first day, November 21st, and have 125 million in assets. Here's the picture. Okay, XRP was bought. If the first day is 125 million, this is how much XRP they would get with that much money. From now on, take half of the daily average. This is the daily. For around 30 million XRP or 29 million XRP. It would be just under 150 million a week. It would be just under 600 million per month. 7 billion XRP would be collected every year to fund this ETF, which is a huge, huge amount of money. Okay? And finally, here are some Franklin Templeton situations. Franklin Templeton is set to take off on the 24th, as we know. It did have a smaller start on CBO, but we're still waiting for that, much bigger start. This is where price goals come in. They said between 150 and 250 million on the first day. Chad used about 200 million, which is about the same as here and there, right? This is where you found the sweet spot, $200 million. You went up 50 million on the 150 and then down 50 million on the 250. Then it says to use 50% of the XRP you've earned plus $100 million. He's cutting it in half again. This is your daily, right? If there are $100 million coming in, you'd be getting this much XRP and then 50 million. Of course, there are also some other numbers here, 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year. Would you be willing to buy 5.6 billion XRP? That is, $12 billion would be spent on just one ETF. Please just get that, okay? It's time to talk about some big numbers. In the Wisdom Tree XRP ETF situation, you should expect less than Canary Day 1, but more than the daily average from now on. This is equal to about 16.587 million XRP, which is about 35 million XRP on the first day. That's 1 week. That's 1 month, right? 331,000. Then in a year, we might be talking about just under 4 billion XRP. Okay, so Chad also put together some data for Grayscale. Let's look at this one now. Grayscale case for the XRP ETF. Assume that the current price is a little higher than the price that was sold. Then it says, next month, 150 million XRP goal. This time he did it a little wrong. Let's begin at the very bottom. It would be about $7.5 million for the first day. That's about 3.5 million XRP. It would be 17 million in a week. That's 71 million in 1 month. And 853 million XRP would be taken off of platforms every year to fund this ETF. Okay, we're now entering the fantasy world of BlackRock. We did see some information about some big moves out of BlackRock. I'm not sure if I have it here, but BlackRock had one of the worst days ever for Bitcoin in its history. It must have been close to $500 million. People are scared in the Bitcoin world right now. A lot of people are running like the ship is on fire. I don't know if that will work, and remember that BlackRock users are selling it, not BlackRock itself. However, BlackRock will likely want to grow beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, and XRP is likely a safe choice for them. It seems likely that they would also go after Solana. They would have to do this if BlackRock knew that customers wanted it. If BlackRock customers like you called and said, demand a spot XRP product, they would have thought, oh snap, we got to get this going, right? They would make it happen. But here are some of the numbers we'll be looking at. Assuming that the price of XRP is 100 billion won today, this would mean that 47 billion won worth of XRP was taken off of platforms. This is the kind of stuff that's hard to believe, right? But here are some price goals that Chad set. $12, $25, and $220 if BlackRock bought a lot of this. The Grayscale XRG, XRP, and GXRP are ready to go and will be released soon. That's good to go. Yes, I would like to look at this. This is a list of predictions. So this is what you'd get if you put all of these together. Take the current price, 7 first, use the money from the 7 first step. That is hard to say. For step 2, add up the average of up to 12 funds. For phases 1 and 2, this is what he thinks you might be able to expect based on the current price. Just know that. So here's what I don't like about some of these predictions. If you start to see even a small amount of these trends, the price will obviously change, right? Is because this is based on the idea that the price stays the same throughout the whole year and that everyone still buys things at the same price, right? That is, someone is going to sell XRP for $2, right? Doesn't retail mean that? Stores will try to get more customers. You know, these situations are helpful to think about and understand, but take this with a grain of salt, because the claims we're making are more like those in fantasy land. Canary, Bitwise, 21 Shares, Coin Shares, Wisdom Tree, Grayscale, and Franklin Templeton are all here. You add everything up. 7 funds with a sum of 22 billion XRP in 1 year. About 5 funds in Part 2, or 3.4 billion. And in 1 year, 12 funds raised a total of 39 billion. That's because there isn't enough XRP to do that, and this is how much Canary made in the first 4 days, $128 million. For 4 days, that's very strong. I also wanted to break down some of this stuff. Based on the claim that 12 funds have a total of 39.8 billion XRP, the hypothetical spot ETF scenario says that institutional funds will buy a lot of XRP. At the current price, almost all of the XRP that is available to the public will be bought up, and this pattern of buying will continue for a year. Let us break that down. The beliefs are alike. The properties and the money that is in circulation in this case. ETF supply and demand. The traded ETF forecasts nearly 40 billion in a year if the number of funds grows to 12 and stays that high. Phase 1 already calls for over 22 billion XRP to be given to just 7 funds. The current stock is thought to be between 59 billion and 65 billion as of November 2025, with 65 billion being the correct number, and there are still about 35 billion ripples locked up in trust. For this made-up ETF scenario to work, ETFs would have to buy up well over half of the constantly circulating supply in just 1 year, which I don't think will happen. The easily tradable public float is even smaller than the supply because a big chunk of it is still in long-term wallets, whales, and inactive accounts. It is thought that retail access is a very small part of the total supply. Some predictions say that the real flow of cash into private accounts could be as low as 30 billion PAP, since the ETF purchase of nearly 40 billion XRP did not happen as planned. It would probably use up all the available liquid much more quickly, which would probably cause major problems in the market. Remember that if they use up the 2 or 3 billion XRP that's on exchanges, there will be no more XRP on exchanges. There's no way the price will be $2, right? The market cap ratio would be so huge that the price would be several hundred or $1,000. In terms of the inflows, the tough part comes when the price starts to rise. That's when the long-term whales and buyers say, hey, $10, I'm game. I have 1 million XRP, which is equal to $10 million, right? Some people have 10 million, 50 million, or 100 million XRP. When XRP is worth $50 or $100, big companies have billions of dollars. You don't think they're going to take a profit, do you? Some of this stuff I've just looked at because, you know, it's fun, but I try to be honest here. There are a lot of XRP coming in right now, so keep it going. There have been $276 million in net imports so far, which is great. The price of XRP stays steady even though the market as a whole is falling. Some of this stuff is really crazy just to look at it, so let's find out what's new with the building of the crypto market system. Brian Armstrong is the CEO of Coinbase, and he is here. I think he's been on Capitol Hill almost every day. He stands to lose a lot if they get it wrong. That's why he's doing everything he can to be a leader, which I really like. You begin to wonder what he wants and what he feels about this. But, you know, we need guys like this. I'd like to know how much the tax will be for Coinbase. Hey everyone, this is Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase. I'm back in the halls of Congress, pushing for laws that set up the market. Since I was here last, a lot has changed. The Senate Advertising Committee has now shared written tech with us. Senate Banking is also working late at night and on the weekends to finish the next draft of their text. I believe there is a good chance that this bill will be discussed again in December. Hopefully, get it to the president's desk soon after that. It would be a big step forward if crypto could be used freely in the US with clear rules. This would be good for all businesses. Coinbase does want to be the best cryptocurrency business, though. At the same time, we're working hard on the goods. You can watch the live stream of our product event on December 17th to see everything we've been working on since the beginning of the year. Many thanks for coming back every time, and get in touch with your lawmakers and keep pushing for clear crypto rules in the U.S. We will also keep doing what we can to help make it happen. Thanks. You did say a great thing, right? You have some strength here. People from the United States make up 55% of the people who watch this station. That gives you a lot of power. You can call your senator or congressperson and say, hey, crypto is very important to my family and me. It's important to me that this is done right. What do you want to do? What are your plans? And put some stress on them, please. Do you really vote for these people? Those who work for them will answer the phone if you call. They won't get back to you if you're not a client, right? One time, I tried to get in touch with a congressperson or senator in Louisiana, Kentucky, or somewhere else because I wanted to talk to them about cryptocurrency. I'm sorry, sir, you don't live near us. We